Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, Facebook family. How is everybody doing this evening? I am not Big Papa. As if you didn't realize that. I am not Big Papa Brian+Post. Big Papa's traveling today, and he's had a booger of a day in traveling. I think he started off this morning at about 3 o'clock this morning, and somehow managed to miss his flight out of Oklahoma City. Caught a late flight. And the last I heard from him, he was in Philadelphia. Brotherly love, right? The city of brotherly love. And he is on his way to Indiana. He's going to get to meet with some dear friends of ours, Mr. and Mrs. Crawford. And then he's going to be doing some private work with a family this weekend. So I know that there's going to be some big shifts happening. And that's exciting. And I just want to give a little personal, hey, Lisa, a little personal appreciation for Brian going back on the road. I'll tell you, for years and years and years, he traveled, at least twice a month. He'd be gone for 4 to 5 days. And so, yeah, he is a road warrior. There's no doubt about it. And he took quite a little sabbatical for a few years, and now he's back on the road. And I just want to extend my appreciation for him making that sacrifice. It's not his favorite thing to do, but it is sometimes necessary. So I really appreciate Brian being out there. And so he reached out to me today, I think, while he was in a layover in Philadelphia. Oh, thank you, Gareth. I'm breaking up. Maybe I moved over here into my office so that it would be quiet. But quiet with a bad signal really doesn't do any good, does it? So thanks for letting me know. I'm going to move around and see if I can get a better connection. You guys get to meet my family, which is pretty awesome. I'm excited for that. And if you guys don't know, I'm Kristi Saul. I'm the co-founder of the Post+Institute. See, we really do have a child. This is our daughter, Marley. And this is our big baby, Beatrice. And there's a little Annie walking around. So, yeah, meet the family tonight since I'm trying to get a better connection. So, I know Brian has been doing a series that's been really cool for Foster Care Awareness Month, where he's been talking about things that every foster parent needs to know. Gareth, I hope that's a little bit better. I'm going to just go ahead and continue, and hopefully we can keep the noise down. Hey, Mar, do you mind turning the TV down a little bit, babe? Thank you. So, I'm going to, since Mother's Day is Sunday, I feel like that's what I feel very cool to talk about. So I'm just going to jump right in. Actually, in our Lovolution program, we had a mom who, I just loved that she put it out there, sort of just the energy. Hey, Kirsten, good evening, good evening. Hope things are good for y'all in the Netherlands. What she brought up was just the complexity of Mother's Day for our kids, for moms, I guess, really for families in general. There's sort of this universal idea of what family looks like, and we have a lot of celebrations that we have based on this sort of universal idea. But the reality is that there is no uni, meaning the word one. There is no universe story. There is no one story about family. There never has been. That was a myth. So adoption, fostering, those concepts have been around since mankind, in the sense that there has always been a time that someone who did not give birth to the child might be responsible for raising that child. Could be because of poverty. It could have been because of the death of a mother. Thank you, Gareth. Thanks for letting me know. That's good feedback. So this talk isn't so much about being pro adoption or foster care or anything like that, but just more speaking to the heart of Mother's Day. And so realizing that I think it can get complex because I, I'm trying to choose my words really carefully because I want to be really respectful, and I don't want to leave anybody out. You know, we have grandmothers who are raising small children; they're raising their grandkids. We have stepmoms, we have foster moms, we have first moms, birth moms, tummy moms. I don't know what term people prefer, so whatever term fits that you like, then that's the term to use. And we have moms and we have adoptive moms. We have dads who are moms because there's no quote unquote mom in the family. We have um, and see, here I go again. I'm not even sure the right words these days. So I'm going to use what I, at the age of 53, know. We have same sex marriages where we have two parents who are, thank you. Yes, we do, Lisa. We need to honor it all. And I'm just trying my best to do that. And knowing that some of my terminology, you know, it might be outdated. And anybody wants to comment and correct me, I'm open to that. I'm open to the correction and I'm open to the guidance because my intention is to be inclusive and my intention is to be honoring and respectful to all that takes place. And I think that is where the complexity lies because it's not just a black and white thing. There is not a universal, a one verse story about what family means. There is not a one verse story about what motherhood means. There's not and it can change, you know, within the lifetime of a child who might have mothered you from this stage to this stage and who's mothering you now. Like, you know, they could all be different people. I think the complexity, though, also comes in this place where adults have wounds. And so our adult wounds get snagged, they get amplified, they get magnified in some of our holiday traditions. And so the holiday of Mother's Day, where we're trying to honor the caregiver, the nurturer, the mother, regardless of how that person and what that the role of that person is in our lives, that it gets complex. And I think the root of the complexity, man, it can go way back when we start talking about the world of adoption and foster care in particular. My mom is an adoptee. My mom is 77 years old. She was literally 4 days ago telling me a story about going to fill out an application for something. Somebody asked the city that she was born in, and she said, I was born in San Diego, California. And the woman said, but your birth certificate says Saul, Oklahoma. She said, well, my birth certificate's wrong. My birth certificate was forged. That's what my mother was given. My adoptive mother was given that birth certificate. And she says the woman told her, don't ever tell anybody that. The next time somebody asks you where you were born, just tell them what's on the birth certificate. You know, and I'm laughing, I'm kind of joking because, you know, the woman's point was just basically in order to get what you need, just, you know, go ahead and say whatever's on your birth certificate. And on one hand, you know, I get that. But on another hand, it's just, you know, it's kind of one of those repeated injuries, one of those repeated emotional insults that people who have been adopted experience. And so, hey, Stephen, nice to see you. And so, you know, as I just think of that and I just try to wrap my heart around it all, and I realize that out there, there's a mother whose child was adopted or a mother whose child's in foster care, and they're remembering that child on Mother's Day, and they may not know anyway or have even they might even have permission to be in touch with that child, and so they're going through a process of their own, and we have children who are in the midst of possibly grieving a parent and at the same time celebrating that they have a great mom. And so that puts them in a unique position. And then I think sometimes as adoptive parents, we know all that's there. So we know it, but we might not talk about it. So that's the snag. The snag is we know that our children are grieving, or they may be in that place of grieving. We can feel it. And yet we kind of humanly want to celebrate ourselves, as parents and as moms, and we want to join in the festivities and be honored and celebrated and have somebody bring us beautiful cards with cute little traced hands and cute little traced feet. And so I think sometimes in our rush to celebrate the fact that we have now been made mothers through the process of adoption, maybe it's something we longed for, worked for, strived for in some way or another, and so now we don't want to focus on that grief. We probably don't want to focus on that grief because it brings up some of our own grief from the process we went through of trying to have children, and yet when we rush to just celebrating, we're not really honoring the totality of the experience. It's complex, isn't it? It's not just a little cut and dry thing. It's complex. And sometimes I think in doing this kind of maybe in our excitement or our haste to celebrate our motherhood and struggling with how do we honor a first mother, a birth mother, or mother who maybe isn't in the picture. How do we honor them? How do we honor and be appreciative of that? How do we honor and appreciate that even if there was something that took place in the raising of that child where that parent might have been accused of abuse or neglect? How do we do it? So I'm just putting these things out there because I know these are the questions that are flying, they're kind of floating around up there in the air that no one's just saying, hey, look, we have this multiverse story of Mother's Day. And it's okay. It's okay that we have the ability within us to hold grief and appreciation and love all at the same time. We have that ability to contain that within ourselves. We have the ability within our deepest loving heart to really appreciate that a child was born, regardless of the circumstances of how that child came into the world. And because of that, more than one person may get to call themselves a mom. Wow. Now, that's a flip of the script, isn't it? We could all celebrate because, a child can't lose by having too many people love them, right? And a child, if we allow them, because we are the leaders in our family, and if we can just get comfortable with this complex reality, as opposed to feeling like we have to pretend it's this single story, this universe, if we can just entertain a multiverse, that there are multiple stories out there of what it means to be a mother and how people become mothers, and we can entertain a multiverse of who our children call mother, and that they don't have to pick. Our kids don't have to pick which mom they're going to celebrate or which person they're going to be loyal to. They can be loyal to a lot of different people, and they can hold love. And we say to our kids all the time, I love all my kids, and I can have love for all of my kids. And you know what? Your kids can have love for all their moments. It's possible. So a lot of times I think in the world of adoption, we start to feel threatened. And I think sometimes first moms, birth moms, whatever, I use the word tummy mom, whatever word is the best word for you all. I think sometimes they feel threatened too. And well, I'll tell you, if you want to get something going, you get two hyper-protective, super sensitive women feeling threatened about their roles, and it won't be pretty. So we can just set all that aside. We can just set that aside, and we can be grateful and hold gratitude in our heart. I want to read. This comes straight out of From Fear to Love. And if you guys don't know it already, we have this great special offer where you can get this book for free. Just pay the shipping and handling. the links in the description up there. But I'm just going to read this. This is on page 10. It's talking about the womb experience. And so, the brain starts developing right there in the tummy. What's going on in the tummy affects the baby. And so Brian talks a little bit about that, and then he goes on and he talks, I have this highlighted, so I'm just going to jump in the highlighted area. I'm going to just read the whole paragraph. This is what's so significant about grief, a neurophysiological disruption of the brain and body system. How many babies have an opportunity to express, process, and understand that trauma, the trauma of being separated at birth? Not many. They might cry, but that's hardly processing and understanding it, is it? As an adopted child gets older, the grieving and longing process of the biological parent might continue to be unintentionally downplayed by the adoptive parents. Typically, adoptive parents will view their adopted child's grief or longing for the biological parent as some parental shortcoming on their part. Man, that's deep, isn't it? That we would interpret a child who's grieving as if somehow you're not enough. That's not it. That's not it. You're plenty. This is a complex, and we're conquering some complex challenges, right? And so he says we might experience that as feeling it's some sort of shortcoming on our part. This is yet another error in judgment and reflects more of the parent's own insecurities and fear than anything else. Think about this. What are your feelings regarding your child's grief and loss of their biological parent? Does it make you feel guilty or sad or angry? Typically, there's an abundance of mixed feelings, but all rise from your own fear. As you accept your own feelings, give your child permission to do the same. It's best to simply say, honey, I can understand why you feel that way. It's really natural to have those feelings. It's really natural that you would miss your mom. It's really natural. I'll bet they're really sad feelings. Give your child permission to grieve. Hold them tight as she cries and asks questions. You don't have to know any or all the answers. Just listen, support, and encourage her to keep talking to you. This is the first part of allowing grief to happen. When the grieving process can finally begin, it will work itself through in time, and your adopted child can heal and fully allow you to love her without resistance. Man, I think that is so powerful. That is a powerful message as Mother's Day is coming, as it's coming down the road. And I'll tell you, the more we can keep the doors of communication open, we're simply, that is the foundation for everything. And it's been very rare in my 30 years of doing this work that I've met an adoptee that at some point in life did not want to, if they didn't already know, didn't want to know who their first mother was or their biological mother was, biological father. And so when we have these strong insecurities and we, out of our fears and insecurities, we are sending messages to our kids that we're not open to the conversation, that we can't handle it. We can't handle their feelings. It's too threatening to us. When we're feeling insecure about it and therefore shut down those pathways, then what happens is we're setting a foundation for secrets, and we're setting a foundation that, when I turn 18, right? When I turn 18, I'm going to X, Y, Z. And these stories do I hear of when I turn 18 and connecting with birth families and adoptive parents feeling like they're out of the loop, when in fact we can be right there to guide them through the process. Your children have the ability to love more than one parent, just like you have the ability to love more than one child. And so I'm going to close today thinking about Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one woman can sharpen another. And so this year with Mother's Day coming, I encourage you to consider how your children are feeling. Consider how you're feeling. Open the doors, open your heart for whatever process takes place, and Let your traditions grow in whatever way your family needs in the multiverse of motherhood. Much love to you guys. Brian will be back tomorrow. Thanks for letting me stand in. Peace and good night.